Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here this week. And this week I want to talk a little bit about how we diminish ourselves or our wins and how that is one of the biggest ways we abandon ourselves. And the reason I wanted to talk about this week is because I actually was in a coaching conversation this week with some of the students in the Honor You Lab. And there was something that happened, which I'll get to, and it really struck me how much diminishing ourselves has this power over us and keeps us really small and keeps us in the same places and keeps us from really having this beautiful connection with ourselves so that we can be truly who we came here to be. And it really keeps us from a place that we struggle with change and change in our life that we really want, that really allows us to be who we came here to be, really have a fulfilling life, really be happy, really be at peace, etc. So before I jump into that, if you would like to get started in the Honor You method, because you hear me talk about it a lot in the Honor You Lab, please go check the show notes. There is a space for you to grab my free giveaway, whatever you want to call it, my freebie that talks to you about my story and how I came to do this work. And then it talks to you about the basics of honoring yourself. And also the other place that I would love to have you jump in is the Honor You Lab waitlist, because I will be launching that again soon. And we are in week, I think, 5 in the Honor You Lab, and we're going to go a full 12 weeks. And it is a lab that has the teachings of the methodology. And then it also gives you 6 weeks of modules, 6 weeks of 12 weeks of coaching, actually. So I have group coaching 3 times a week. And the value, you guys, is just astronomical, because the coaching alone is just, first of all, you can't really put a price on coaching. But if you had to, I've spent thousands over my years on coaching. And so the price of the Honor You Lab is so reasonable, and you get tons of coaching, you get one-on-one time, you get human design readings, you get all sorts of fun stuff. But ultimately, you also are given this tool to live a life that allows you to have profound changes, because you've probably gotten to that place in your life where certain aspects, you've had it, you're done with it, you're over it. And if you're that, then this will allow you to move through that in a way that is very practical and pragmatic. You don't need to blow up your whole life to make major changes, right? So this methodology is a way that allows you to really identify places in your life that are not working for you and really get clear around that, and then move through it so that you really have the life you want, the really great fulfilled life that you want. Okay, so jump in the lab waitlist, grab the freebie, and let's get going, shall we? So this week I wanted to talk about how we diminish ourselves on our wins, or one of the biggest ways we abandon ourselves. And I want to talk about this because in one of the coaching sessions that we had this past week, there was somebody who was talking about how, she's really trying to express herself and hold boundaries and interact with people in her life in a little bit different way than she's had in the past, because she's kind of lived much of her life contorting herself, not really speaking her truth, being afraid to have that conflict with other people. And it's put her in a place where she's not necessarily living the life for her. She's sort of living the life for everybody else, which, I'm sorry, but that's probably not going to make anybody feel great or happy. And so she's found herself in this place where she is now struggling to really even understand what she wants, or who she wants to be, or, what makes her happy even. And so we were talking about it, and what she said was so interesting to me. She said it a couple times, actually, and she was giving me this example of when she stood up to herself. She set a boundary in her life by telling somebody else that she needed a minute, that she would get to them, but she was going to take a minute because she was doing something else. And the other person wanted her to do what he wanted her to do in that moment. And she was like, no, I'm doing something else right now. You're going to have to wait. And she was telling me the story, and then she told me another story about how she was using her humor a little bit in public with, someone she doesn't know very well. And then another time where she was using her humor with her daughter. So there was like these moments that she was really starting to feel like herself, and she was not contorting herself into being a certain way just because that's what she was always used to being. And 2 or 3 times she was like, well, this is actually, it's just a small thing. I know it wouldn't be a big deal to other people, or it's probably just a small, silly thing, but, and then she would tell me the story of how she was being herself. And she said it a couple of times, and I was like, hang on a second. Don't diminish it, because you have spent years pushing yourself down, not being yourself, not honoring yourself. And now that you're doing it, let's celebrate it, right? Like, why are we looking at it as such a small thing? And see, the thing about it is, folks, that you have to understand, this is so important, is when we do that, we're training the brain to keep having the other thing that we didn't want. And in her case, it was being, staying small, not having a voice, not having boundaries, all this stuff, right? And so we train our brain, when we diminish it, we train our brain that it's not a big deal, that actually, maybe it's better if we stay safe. So we don't want to do that. We want to celebrate, because the brain is looking for affirmations. That's its job, right? It's looking for a space to be safe, to know what's coming next so that it can keep us alive. And so to work around the mind a little bit, we then have to show it the fun of standing up for ourselves, the fun of having calm conflict with somebody else, the fun of setting a boundary, because otherwise it'll always just see it as like, actually, no, this is not okay. Like, this is not okay that I spoke up, or this is not okay that I set a boundary. So if we diminish it, it kind of affirms that for the mind, and we don't want that process. What process we do want is, let's celebrate it. Bam, I stuck up for myself. On the flip side, I had someone this week be like, you would be proud of me because I stuck up for myself. Yes, 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 yes. Let's celebrate that. Because if you don't celebrate it and you don't recognize it, the mind doesn't see it as a good thing. And then the mind will just keep doing what it's always done, which is keep you small, keep you silent, keep you not setting boundaries, keep you contorting into something that you're not. Okay? So I didn't want to massively belabor this week. I wanted to kind of keep this short and sweet and to the point, because I really believe that we need to start thinking about things that we're doing in our lives, and then noticing from our higher self's perspective. You've heard me talk about that before, the higher self's perspective, where we are diminishing our wins, or where we are diminishing our voice, or where we are diminishing things that we should be really celebrating, but we're kind of taught not to, right? And we're taught not to because it's like, well, don't talk about yourself. Don't feel too good about yourself, because don't put too much attention on yourself, or whatever the reason. There's all sorts of, don't be too dramatic. That's another one that I hear a lot. Oh, you're being so dramatic. These are all ways in which we sort of diminish ourselves to fit into environments where other people feel comfortable. And that's not our job. Our job is not to make other people feel comfortable all the time. People might feel uncomfortable with who we are. Guess what? They're not our people, and that's okay. We might make someone uncomfortable if in a group setting, like at work, if we're on a call and someone's being a jerk and we kind of put them in their place, or we stand up for ourselves. Other people on the call are probably going to feel uncomfortable witnessing that conflict. That is not your problem. That is not for you to worry about. What is for you to worry about is protecting yourself, standing up for yourself, and ensuring that you are honoring yourself. So I want to leave you with this quick message this week, because it really stood out to me how a lot of people are doing this, right? It's like if we have these big wins, if we do something really awesome, if we honor ourselves, we step out of our comfort zone, we stick up for ourselves, we stand up for ourselves, we have conflict with someone we've struggled to have conflict with, we set a boundary, we do something really awesome at work, we, I don't know, we start doing a hobby that we've always wanted to do and we've put it off because our mind's like, no, that's stupid, right? So celebrate those moments and start teaching and training your brain that this honoring yourself thing is how we're doing life now. Because we have to get it out of the other way of doing life, which is this like, just do as you're told. Don't make a ruckus. Don't make a scene. Don't be dramatic. Do what society wants you to do. Do what everybody else wants you to do. And we have to start teaching our brain that that's the old operating system. The new operating system is we celebrate these moments and we take the wins of which we are doing what honors us. Okay? And if you've never heard me say this the first time you're listening, honoring you means recognizing, respecting, and responding to your emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental needs without abandoning yourself and despite societal norms. That's my definition of honoring ourselves. So when we do that in any way, shape, or form, we should really be celebrating that and not diminishing it. Because when we diminish it, it sort of affirms with the brain like, yeah. The old way of doing life is actually the way we should be doing this so that we survive. Because again, the mind's job is to keep you alive. And so it'll always want the same thing, different day, because that is what it understands as normal. And if it understands normal, then it feels like the easier path to safety, because then it can predict the next move, right? If we stay doing the same thing, different day, then it knows what to expect and it's easier to keep us alive. It's an easier way to call the shots, if you will. All right, guys, until next time, keep honoring yourself and I will see you in the next podcast.